Welcome to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from De Bruyne Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
And good morning, everyone. And isn't this a beautiful Saturday morning? Oh, God is going to give us a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And, you know, the weather has said they promised us this. No rain, though, so keep watering your plants outside. And it is going to get warmer, so we're going to have to worry about watering our plants. We can't just, think about it every couple of days now. We're actually getting sunshine and blue skies, so let's remember that every time you water, later in the morning and in the afternoon, all of that water evaporates and actually does not get down to the ground. So keep that in mind when you're watering. Best to do it earlier in the morning rather than later in the afternoon. We're still where am I? What am I doing here? Talking about what's happening at De Bruyne's this week. We have had a lot of people still coming in, planting their gardens. They had a lot of beans and corn, and you fill in the blank that didn't come up during the colder weather and when the soil temperatures were colder. So they're replanting right now. Yes, there is time to do it. This is the time, end of the season, to plant pumpkins. So if you haven't gotten those in the ground, or if yours haven't turned out well, put some more seeds in there and plant some hills of pumpkins and squash and cucumbers and beans, and get out there and do all of that. That's way too much fun. We got to get a garden in. I got to get my beans in this afternoon because I haven't done that yet. So, hopefully this evening we'll get it in. So get that done. Get those gardens wrapped up. It is going to be a little late to plant lettuce and spinach. That they like cooler weather. If it's going to be 80 or maybe, high 80s or whatever, what happens is the lettuce and spinach bolt. And that means it's going to go to seed, so it sends up the stalk, and then the leaves themselves just turn bitter because all the energy is going toward, trying to make a new plant. So it is not good. So, harvest it while you can. If you've got it in a little shadier part of the garden, it will last a little longer. But once you get the heat of summer, that doesn't like it. Good thing is you can plant some more in mid-August and get it spinach and lettuce and some of those plants in the fall. So, no need to despair. You still can do it. You can put in things like collards or mustard if you want some greens. They love, love, love the hot weather. And things like okra also loves the hot weather. So you can get that planted right now. Got plenty of time for that. So don't worry. And if you had the squash vine borer, and if you've had it, you know what it is, where your pumpkins or squash or cucumbers are growing fantastic, and all of a sudden it just dies like overnight. And if you look at the plant, way at the base where it goes into the ground, there'll be a hole, and if you open up that hole, you'll see a little grub type thing busy eating away at the inside of your plant. That's a squash vine borer. Nothing much you can do. I know some people, if there hasn't been a whole lot of damage, will pull that borer out and kind of put some Band-Aids over it and then hope for the best that they can limp along and hopefully get something out of it. It's worth a try if you have it, but if you've had them in the past, June is the month that the crawlers are out, and that's the little teeny tiny insect that will crawl around looking for squash plants, pumpkin plants, cucumber plants, any one of the melons, and it lays one little egg way down at the base of the plant. And it's just a little black dot. That's what it looks like. And you're just going to think it's a piece of dirt and not even think about it. It's very small, and that's what will hatch. It's an egg, hatches into the little pupa. That's the squash vine borer, and it bores a hole into the plant and starts eating. So this is the month to spray 7 or its equivalent. Keep it on. Probably do it once every 2 weeks through the month of June. You only have to do it once now. And hopefully you'll kill the crawlers so they don't lay the eggs, so you don't get the borers. So if you've had that problem in the past, this is the month to take care of it, because once the borer is there, really not much you can do. Also, before your tomato plants get too large and ungainly, time to get those cages around those tomato plants. It's really tough to get a cage around a plant that's huge. We've got all kinds of cages at DeBrine's. There's small ones, big ones, square ones, round ones, whatever ones you want to use. We've got ones that when you take them off, they collapse so you can hang them on the wall in the garage and you can use them again next year. We've got the cheaper ones that basically are a 1-year type thing. We've got all kinds of things. So get those, get them out, get them around your tomato plants. I've never had a problem with my peppers, but my tomato plants, I always put the cages around. If you don't, they have a tendency to kind of flop over, and then all of your developing tomatoes are on the ground. And I mean, the mice can just walk right over to them and eat them then. So you might as well just plant tomatoes for the mice. So get those up off the ground, get those cages around them. And also, it's a good time to look at your tomato plant and cut off any suckers. And that's what, if you see the stem going up and you see the branches coming off, and they should come off at about a 45 to 65 degree angle. And then every once in a while you'll see another little tiny branch wanting to come out between those two. That's called a sucker, and your plant can't handle all of these. So you need to just kind of take your fingernails and just kind of squash that little sucker and take it off, just so the plant doesn't put all of its energy into doing new suckers and not into developing fruit. So get those suckers off those plants. You might want to take a couple of the bottom branches off, so it can get the tomatoes up higher. That's your call, but you can do it. If we're going to, I don't know, is it going to get humid next week, Arlo, or did you not look at the weather? You didn't look at the weather.
I haven't really been looking at the weather because I don't need to anymore.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's automated now. So, okay.
I know it's supposed to be pretty hot next week, though.
Yeah, so you might want to get, if you have zinnias or anything that has a tendency to get powdery mildew, you might want to do a fungicide right now. If you plant your tomatoes in the same spot every year, and your peppers, you might want to spray them so they don't get blight. That starts at the bottom of the plant and works its way up. So you might want to spray that. I automatically spray my roses and some of my flowers with the BioAdvance 3-in-1. It does insects, it does diseases, and it does mites. Takes care of the 3 problems I have with my roses, takes care of everything. So I do spray my roses especially with that. I have some rose bushes right now that are sending up. I have never seen so many flowers before in my life. It is incredible. And I really need to trim it back, and it's full of them. So I can't do that right now. Didn't trim it back earlier, so that's my mistake. But the flowers are incredible this year. I've never seen that. My butterfly bushes I cut them back last fall, and they are coming back like a champ right now. So I'm happy about that. Flowers on my deck are looking good. I've decided I've never done shallots before, so we had a couple shallots left at work. So I'm planting shallots also this afternoon. I'm trying to round out my garden here, see what I can get. And we still had jalapeno plants. I never get them in time, but we still have them at DeBrine's. So if you need to fill out your garden, like put in a few tomatoes, we've got still a nice selection of tomatoes and peppers, and we've got some squash, and I think I saw some watermelon down there. Did not see cantaloupe. And I saw all kinds of different squash, vegetable spaghetti. There's buttercup, butternut, crookneck. There was some zucchini squash there. So yeah, if you want to finish off your garden, you got a little bare spot there. DeBrine's still has really nice looking plants. I also grabbed some of the herbs. They've got some of those. Basil is gone, but they still had some rosemary and thyme and sage and oregano, marjoram. They also had tarragon. So they do have a nice selection of herbs there. So if you want to round out your herb garden, I had to get some more oregano because I've got a cat that doesn't eat. It's not eating its catnip, it's eating my oregano for whatever reason. It must be an Italian cat that I didn't realize, but it goes out there and it goes straight to the oregano plant and just starts mawing on that.
And you have catnip out there and it doesn't eat that?
No, it doesn't touch it.
Just the oregano.
The oregano.
That's hilarious.
That I don't know why. It is driving me insane. So now I have to plant some more oregano for the cat. I usually do extra oregano just because I like to let some of it go into flour for the bees. But now I've got to do extra just for the cat. That is so weird. I was going to bring some oregano in to see if our store cat likes it. He might. But he likes the catnip, so I don't know. We'll see. But it's pretty weird. Whatever. All right, and then the last. Oh no, I cannot tell you how many people have been bringing in leaves this week and on their hostas and on some of their flower plants and on the leaves and whatever. If you've got plants that have the leaves, touch the ground or kind of near it, you're probably going to have slugs. There is so many slugs out there this week. It's been kind of moist out there in the morning. They love that weather. They overnight on your plant, and then when dawn comes, they're back out on the ground. But we've got a caller on the line. Good morning. You're on the Garden Hour. Good morning.
Hello. Can you tell me whether or not you would take expired Danamine paste for horses for island dogs or not really?
Sure, I would. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. They also, island dogs also helps the islanders, animals, their goats, their horses, their sheep, their pigs, whatever they've got. So yes, I will take any animal thing. I will take it. They're always very, very happy for that. So yes, thank you. And I got some supplies in this week. And big thank you to that person. My goodness, I got quite a lot of stuff. So I've got to get to work and get some boxes going down there this week. So yes, anytime you want, you can just drop it off at DeBrine's. Tell them it's for island dogs or for Jan, and the guys will make sure it gets up to me, and I will process it and bring it back down to Puerto Rico. All right. Well, we have to take a break here, but we will be right back after Arlo plays these messages. Well, good morning, everybody. We are back on. Phone lines are open. 616-395-1450. A mental block there for a moment. 616-395-1450 is the number to call if you have a question. Not a problem. I will stop talking and listen to you then. So we were talking about slugs before. It is, you can just put a slug bait around your plants that you have it. Slug bait, even up to 5 years ago, used to be metaldehyde, which dogs absolutely loved. And you'd see a lot of, slug poisoning in dogs because they would eat it all the time. There's better stuff out there that the dogs and cats can eat it all they want, and it's not going to hurt them, but it will hurt the slugs and kill them. So you can put it down without worrying about it. There's a couple of these slug killers out there now. You can also put a saucer of beer out there. It's got to be kind of a deep saucer. And they're not fussy about their beer. In fact, they just like that yeasty smell. So near beer will work also. Don't use an IPA or something. It's got to be like Budweiser or something like that. And you put the beer in the saucer, and you put the saucer's lip even with the ground or the mulch or whatever you got there, so the slugs can crawl in it. They smell it, they crawl in it, and they drown. So you got to make sure it's deep enough to drown these slugs. You got to clean out the saucer every couple of days, clean out all the dead ones, and because there are usually quite a few. It's not just one or two. So, and if you go out at night with a flashlight, you can go out there and you can pick them off if you like. Also, you don't have to do anything. You just don't have to use anything. I find that kind of boring, so I like the slug bait better. Yes, Arlo?
I just have a question here.
Yeah.
So slugs come out at night. Do they like to be on the underside or the top of the leaves more?
Usually they like to be on the underside more, so you got to kind of pick up the leaf. And they're not big here. Down in Miami, we had slugs and snails that were big.
I can imagine.
These things are little tiny, maybe an inch long. These are not huge, and these are not humongous. We had those banana slugs that were like 4 or 5 inches long, and Arlo's about having a fit here.
I don't like bugs. The idea of a 4-inch long slug sounds horrible.
I used to pay the neighbor kids a penny a piece if they'd go through my garden and pick them off. And they would come back with buckets, and there's no way I was counting them, but I would, kind of estimate. Oh, they loved that. So, yes, you would not have joined in. No, okay. Well, I had a lot of neighbor kids that loved to do that. And, hey, maybe you can, entice your neighbor kids to come over at night and pick off slugs. I don't know. Maybe it would be fun for them. Maybe it wouldn't be. So you never know. Another more insects we have to talk about. The grubs that were in your ground this spring have now come up. They're pupating out right now, so there's really nothing you can do about them right now. They're pupating into their adult beetle type form, and we're already seeing European Schaefers out there. People keep bringing those in for me. Thank you very much. The cat loves it when you bring in a live one of those, and we put it in one of a clear plastic bag and seal one end of it, make sure there's a lot of air in it, and so the bug will be walking around, and the cat, Butterball, loves to sit there and watch that. That's like better than the cat TV that we turn on for him in the morning. He loves watching live bugs running around in these plastic bags. So, yeah, just simple pleasures in life. It's just amazing. But we have to remember that if you did not put Grub X down earlier this spring, and it is too late to put Grub X down now, because Grub X takes way too long to get into the ground, and it won't be in the ground at time. So there's the Merit season-long grub killer that can be applied anytime now through July. It has to be watered in well, so I would wait until we've got 100% chance of rain, because it needs a good inch of rain afterwards to get it in the ground. It does photo degrade if it's left above the ground, so we want to get the Merit season long right before a rainstorm, and that would be absolutely perfect. So that's what's going on down at DeBrine's, along with every other insect problem you can think of. We call this the problem time of the year down at DeBrine's, because everyone comes in with a little bag or a box or you never know what's going to be in those things. You never have a clue. I get a lot of plants. I get a lot of bugs. I'm not like Arlo. I do kind of like bugs, so it is kind of fun to ID these things and see what people have. Even in my own garden, it's kind of fun.
So, if I have a garden problem, such as I'm seeing holes in my leaves, would I just take a leaf and bring it to you and say, Jan, please tell me what's happening?
Well, if you can find a bug, take a picture of it too. Or, yeah, usually we can. There are some things like flea beetles that the damage is so particular that we can. Oh, that's a flea beetle. That's what you get. We're seeing a lot of those in potatoes right now. They makes like it looks like a shotgun went off, and little pinprick holes all over, and that's a flea beetle. But you need to take care of those and get rid of them because they can, kill a leaf. And once you start killing leaves on your plants, that means no more nutrients go down to the roots. So we don't want that. So we want to keep those things. But yeah, you can bring in your problems, or take a good picture of them, so we can take a look at it and see if you've got a particular weed you're not quite sure if you got something you think might be poison ivy. I have people that bring in baggies with poison ivy in it. You do not have to do that. You can take a good picture of it and we'll identify it for you. I don't want you to get any poison ivy or anything like that. We need to take a break. The news is on right now, and Arlo is going to do all of that expertly, and we will be back with the garden show after that. Am I on? Oh, okay. Well, hey, I'm back. I'm just kind of staring off into space here, thinking, that's my music. Yes. Okay, we were discussing the cat's names here, and she was sensing a theme with Butternut and now Butterball at work. And Butternut was obviously named after butternut squash because he was a dead ringer color for a butternut squash. And Butterball is named after the German butterball potato because he's kind of big and round, just like the potato is, and he's orange.
I was going to say, is he the same color as a potato?
Yes, he's kind of potatoish color, and he's got the most fantastic markings on his face. He is a good-looking young man, and we put all these feel away. We put them in every outlet has one in, so he's getting all these feel good pheromones coming in. So he's a lot more laid back right now, and he's coming down in the store a lot. It's not near as busy down in the store right now, so now he comes down there every once in a while, and people are hearing how much he talks. He'll do a whole conversation with you. If you just say hello, he'll let you know exactly what's going on in his life. He's got quite the little voice on him. So, and he does like little children, so that's always good. He doesn't run like Butternut did. He likes little kids. He'll let them pet him, and he just sits there and purrs. He's a sweet little guy, kind of lazy, and he needs to lose weight. Yeah, okay, that's a whole other story. So what we're going to talk about is my weed of the week right now is the poison hemlock. This is a really important plant to learn to identify because every part of this plant is poisonous. So you don't want it around, especially if you've got children or pets or anything. The flowers are the most distinguishing part. They're white. They kind of look like umbrellas. They're a member of the same family that has carrots and Queen Anne's lace. And these actually look like Queen Anne's lace, the flowers do. So you might be walking out and with the wildflowers and thinking this is a great plant to pick, and you know how you we always used to pick Queen Anne's lace and then put it in a water that you put some food coloring in, and then you watch the Queen Anne's lace turn purple and yellow and red. And you might want to think you can do that with this plant. And no, you really don't want to be touching it or handling it too much. And yeah, learn to identify it before you think of, I'm going to pick this white umbrella like flower. Learn to identify the poison hemlock from the Queen Anne's lace. The stems of the poison hemlock are going to be, they almost feel hollow, and they are streaked with purple. I cannot tell you how many people come in the store holding one of these great big old plants. Is this poisonous? Yes. If it is streaked with purple, it is a poison hemlock. And they mainly grow in really moist soils, like at the margins of muck farms or county drains. They just grow like wildflower there. They are not native. Poison hemlock is not native to Michigan or United States. It was brought from Europe. Really not quite sure of why they would have brought a poisonous plant over. I have not a clue. I do it all the time. It has spread. It is definitely, Allegan County right now is having a terrible problem with this. If you do see it and identify it, you might want to call the Allegan County Road Commission and tell them where you found it. They might be able to get out there and get rid of that. If it's on your property, you need to get rid of it. Don't use it. It's a pretty plant, but don't use it for any decorative use whatsoever. It just seems like it's good sound advice.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Probably not a good idea. So learn to look for the purple streaks on. It's very, very distinctive on the stem, and it's kind of almost like a tube-like stem. But the flowers look like Queen Anne's lace. And also, this one will grow a lot taller than Queen Anne's lace. Queen Anne's lace will probably go 3.5 feet tall. This can get up to 6 feet tall. So if you see it at 6 feet, you pretty much know it's not Queen Anne's lace. It is poison hemlock.
Yeah, wow, that's tall.
Yeah.
I do have, so I'm assuming don't burn this.
No. If you burn this, then the toxins get in the air and they could get in your lungs, and then you have even a worse problem. So what you need to do is either spray it with Roundup, and you probably have to spray it several times to get it in the plant. You can cut it down and put it in a plastic bag. I'm not really sure if your trash people will pick up poisonous plants. If they don't, bury the material in an area that will not be disturbed in a plastic bag, so you don't get more little ones coming up. It's best to use the Roundup on. It's a 2-year plant, and the first year it's kind of like garlic mustard, where it's just this little rosette plant, and you think, oh, that's kind of cute. It's best to get it with Roundup then, rather than the one that's got the seed heads on, because that's really hard to get under control. But so keep looking, especially if you've got like a moist area in your lawn or garden, or if you're you got a drain or a creek running around your property. This could very well be there. So just be really, really careful with it. If you do want to bring it in, you take a good picture of it. I can identify it. Or if you're going to bring it in, please use gloves. And we can take care of it. We'll get rid of it for you. But yeah, it needs to be gotten rid of. So yeah, this is something to not be. Some of the poisonous plants aren't that bad, but this is one that is bad. So giant hogweed is another one that is in Michigan. Don't see it too much. That is so poisonous, and that thing is huge. So, if you see a really huge plant in the ditch, it's probably giant hogweed, and that needs to be reported to either Michigan State University or the Department of Ag and let them know exactly where you found it, and they will get rid of it. Don't you try to get rid of that one. Um, you know, some of these things are not good to have around. We need to stop and take a break, but we will be back with the Garden Hour after these messages. And we are back. Hey, I finally was paying attention this time. I am so proud of myself. If you have a question, 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450 is the number to call. Talking about weed killers on the poison hemlock. Weed killers in your lawn, you might want to, if you got some problems with some weeds, you might want to take care of that today or tomorrow. We don't have any rain in the forecast, so it's not something we have to worry about. But if you want to walk around your lawn, I walk around my lawn with, it's called crabgrass destroyer. But it also kills like almost every other thing out there. So it will actually even kill Bermuda grass, but you didn't hear that here because that's not a labeled use for it. But if you do have Bermuda grass, the crabgrass destroyer is the thing to get. And I get it in a 1 gallon thing, and it's got a little wand on it that's got a battery, and you just push the button, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to sit there and pump it. You don't have to do anything like that. I just walk around with my little wand, and I touch the little things I'm going to get and spray them a little bit on the weeds. And it doesn't take much, and I can get all of that. I had a little Bermuda grass coming in right by my driveway. That's gone now. I really like that stuff. I think it's $24.98 for the gallon with a little battery operated wand. I feel so professional when I'm walking around with that I can spray everything. It's really cool. And actually, I thought that battery wouldn't be good, but I had left my home defense, which also has a wand and a little battery powered wand, in my garage, which is not heated. Over the winter, when I pulled it out this spring, I turned it what I thought was on, but that was off. It was on in my garage all winter long in the freezing weather in my garage, and the battery still works. So that's pretty cool. So don't think that you have to use it up all this year. The battery, and I bet you it would have been better had I turned it off, but hey, that's life. I don't always remember. I'm always so excited I get it all done, and then, oops, that one little thing. But that stuff works really well if you've got some really hard to treat weeds. This way it will get it. The best time to spray any weed killer or to spray anything is early morning. You want to do it on a very still day, and I do even remember they said still in the weather forecast. This would be a good day to spray it, because even on a day that you think there's really no wind, those little, what comes out is not great big droplets anymore. It's really small encapsulated things, and that can drift on the wind for quite a ways. So make sure that, you're spraying it just directly on the plant. Don't be spraying it 6 inches away from the plant, because then it will just be carried off in the wind. And you know what? And then it always seems to hit your tomato plants. I don't know why. And the tomato plants are like the most sensitive plant ever for Roundup, and it will just like a whatever weed killer. And it just goes, nope, I'm going to die. So just be really careful, especially, in your backyard and your neighbor's got a garden. Be really, really mindful. It's got to be early morning is best on a cool day, cool morning with no wind, and then spray it. Works the best. If you're spraying insecticides, again, on a cool morning, do it before the bees get up. Bees don't get up first thing in the morning, so if you're out there, first thing, and and spraying off your plants, like say your flowers have aphids or whatever, and you've tried the water bit and it's just not working, go out there and spray them. Everything kills bees, so don't think that you're going to use something organic and it won't kill the bees, because it will. So spray it early morning before the bees are out. You spray foliage only. Don't spray the flowers. You only spray the foliage, because the bees are going to land on the flowers and we certainly don't want to get those. So spray early in the morning. Make sure it's a still morning before the bees are up, and the foliage only. We don't spray the flowers. If you're going to spray clover in your lawn, it's best to mow the lawn first, get the little white flowers off, and then you can walk around and spray them. Bees aren't really terribly fond of the clover, so in your lawn, because it's so usually so spaced out that it's really not worth their bother. But just in case, we certainly don't want them landing on one that you've just sprayed with something. So mow the lawn first on anything that's got a flower on it that a bee might like. Chickweed flowers, much too small. The bees don't like that. They don't like flowers that are a 1/4 inch big, so they're not going to ever bother that. So we don't have to worry about that. Weeds, if you're taking care of things in your garden or your like landscape beds or whatever, you're trying to get rid of the grass and using the grass be gone. Again, just spray the grass. Don't spray the rest of the stuff. Do be careful with it. Be careful where you aim the stuff. And remember, any kind of weed killer works by spraying or applying the granules or the liquid directly to the green growing leaves. You cannot just spray the ground with Roundup or weed killer thinking it will work. It must go on something that is growing. Now, there is stuff that you can, Pramitol and things that you can put on the ground that will stop anything from growing for a year. We've got extended control Roundup. It will kill what's there and then prevent anything more from coming up for a year. But the basic ones, weed killers, whatever, you need to spray green growing leaves to kill them. And do be careful, make sure you get it on, and you want to put it on. If you're using granules, you want to put it on a wet lawn. If you're using a spray, you can, just spray it. Then you do not want to water that lawn for at least 24 hours and no rain for at least 24 hours, because that washes it off, and we certainly don't want that to happen. Okay, now we're going to go to liquid animal repellents like liquid fence or whatever. People always ask, does that, do I have to reapply it every time after a rain? And no, you do not. It lasts about, I usually spray my plants, and then a week later I spray them again, and then they're good for a month. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be spraying all the time with that. That stuff won't hurt a bee unless you spray a bee, and that will probably kill a bee, because everything kills bees. So again, it's probably best to do it early in the morning when it's still, before the bees are out, and that will work better. When you're watering your lawn, I know a lot of people have decided, I'm not going to bother, I'm just going to let it go. Just remember that every month your lawn, just to keep the plant alive, is going to need 1 inch of water. So if you want to figure on that, that's about the absolute minimum that you can do. For if the dry spell goes on for much longer, you're going to have to get out there and water that lawn, because otherwise the crowns of the plant die and then it's dead. Right now it's just gone dormant, and it will green up once the cooler weathers and fall comes with hopefully more rain. But until then, they're kind of like me. I kind of like the cooler nights and the cooler days better than the hot ones. So lawns do like that better. But you do have to make sure that you're watering enough. If you are sprinkling, people have, you walking, you can see exactly where the sprinklers do not cover, especially in my backyard. There's a great big patch where you can see right where the sprinkler is not hitting that area. And that's pretty brown. And so you actually watch your sprinklers when they go off. See where it's covering, where it isn't covering. And then if you want to know how much is actually getting out, take some old soup cans, cat food cans, tuna fish cans, put them out on the lawn in various areas, and put your sprinklers on for 20 minutes. And then go and measure how much is in each can. Then you can tell how much, 20 minutes gives me a half inch of water. And make sure that they're all pretty equal across the lawn. And then you can also tell, put some soup cans where the grass is brown and see if there's any water at all.
So you said an inch of water. Is that like per day, per
No,
week?
inch of water per month. That's a bare minimum.
Okay.
Bare minimum that the grass needs. But they usually say if you want to keep it green, an inch of water a week. And also be mindful of when you are watering. If you're watering at, say, between noon and 2 in the afternoon, it's just going to all go up in the air. It's all going to evaporate, and not enough is going to go down in the ground. So keep that in mind. If you do it at mine in my backyard goes off at 4 in the morning, and my front yard goes off about 6. Not too much evaporation happens at that time of day. So watering early in the day is usually better. Do not water in the evening. You don't want the sun to go down and your plants to be wet, because that invites the little fungal spores that are flying through the air. That wet plant, the fungal spores will stick to it, and then we have a problem. And then all of a sudden we've got brown patch. All of a sudden we've got, some sort of blight. So don't have those plants be wet when the sun goes down. That's the whole premise behind your garden, behind your lawn, everything. No wet when the sun goes down.
So would you say it's then best to water in the early morning?
Yeah, best to water in the early morning. Much, much better time to water. You don't get any kind of evaporation. You don't stop and think about that too much until you get like the 90-degree days and you're just sweating and you're waiting for the free lemonade to show up at DeBrine's. That I think Ken's got it, so it's got to be like 80, 85 out before the free lemonade goes up outside. Yes, those kind of days, it does evaporate quite quickly. And a lot of times you can see it in the air, kind of shimmering with all that water going up in the air. So, yes, those are the days we don't want to water in the afternoon. Okay, well, I think I've about said enough here. I will be back Tuesday morning, 8:35, with Dan for the garden party, and I will be back on Tuesday between 10 and 11 on Talk of the Town with the Garden Hour with Gary, usually. And then I'll be back here. This is the most important one. I'll be back here at 11:05 next Saturday morning, and we're going to talk about all the things that are going on at DeBrine's, all the problems that are coming in, because this is the problem time of summer. And so until then, all I can say is go green.
Go white.
All right. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com, and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.